Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome to another video for Eve Echoes. Today's video is continuing our ramp up sneaky peek previews of the August update. This is Eve Echoes' second anniversary update and it is looking to be absolutely monstrous. Now I've been going over some of the things I think might be coming. Today seems to reveal a lot more of that. We still don't have full information, but it's enough that we can start talking about some things and talking about how this may work when the update goes live. As far as it appears, the update looks to be going live on the 3rd of August. That is 2 days from now if you are watching this video the day that I launch it. It is very, very close and I'm super excited. Now again, this doesn't give us full information, so a lot of what I'm saying is based on knowledge from EVE Online, conversations I've had with the developers previously, and just, I don't know, we'll have a look. We'll have a see what is going on here, just to give a sneaky peek of what to expect come Wednesday, if it is indeed this Wednesday. Now this information is found from the iOS store, the App Store. It's not on Android, which is really curious, but hey, I have gone through, I've been sent these screenshots, I've gone through and verified it all myself. It is there and it's got some really interesting talking points. If you do enjoy this video, please hit like on it. It is a massive help, takes you a split second to do. Subscribe, ding the notification bell, and if you do want to go the extra mile to help support this channel, please head across to my Patreon or my Redbubble merchandise store. Anyway, let's have a look at what we have. So, the first thing here, iOS App Store, Eve Echoes page, we now have sort of like update notes, I suppose. And we've got 5 bullet points here. The first one, voyaging through thick and thin, the fire remains unfading. What the hell does that mean? I genuinely have no idea. I think that's just a cool little tagline that we're using for the Eve Echoes 2nd anniversary update. Very, very cool. 2. A new chapter for interstellar exploration. The ancient faction of Sleepers have descended. Concord has discovered a mysterious interstellar signal, and the ancient faction Sleeper has come to New Eden, reigniting the war. Now, we theorised, or I theorised, at least many others as well, that Sleepers were going to be the new enemy faction based on the fact that they were visible in the Verge of Silence event. Then obviously we had things like the Dormant signal and all that added to the game. That heavily implied Sleepers. Here it is, black and white. We have Sleepers coming to Eve Echoes, and that does put kind of a big asterisk in the air. A lot of people thinking wormholes. We'll come back to that in just a moment. So first of all, we have confirmation, yes, it is Sleepers. Number 3, the new implant system. Comprehensive upgrade for capsuleers, brand new upgradable system, implant, a variety of options for you to choose how to develop as a capsuleer. More on this in a moment. We've already seen, of course, that we have the upgrade materials in the Dormant signal. Anomalies, if you're in high-sec, null-sec, or low-sec, you can find these Dormant signal anomalies. You just open up your overview. It's like the old Crimson Harvest, if you remember that back in the day. They are just there in the overview. You don't have to scan for them. You can go in, kill a load of enemies. When everything's dead, there are some boxes that you can get, small, medium, and large. They contain implant upgrade systems. You can already grab those. They are not tradable. You cannot sell them on the market. It looks like that is going to be part of this update. We know implants are coming. We've seen that in game. Now here it is again, black and white, and we get a little sneaky peek as to how this might work. Number 4, cooperative team up for PvE modes. Free to challenge a variety of difficult modes. Team up to challenge the Dormant realm and surpass your limits in ever-increasing difficulty. This excites me because this is actually what I thought it might be. Something akin to Abyssal Dead Spaces, but with Sleepers as a point. And remember, we're going to come back to all of these individually as we go through this. So for now, I'm looking through these bullet points. We'll come back to that one. It excites me. And finally, number 5, opening ceremony for the Starfaring Festival, countless ships parading and dropping great gifts. The voyage ceremony will begin with thousands of ships parading at the same time, and countless gifts will be given away for participation. Now, Catskill was actually chosen as one of the ones here. We were successful in our application. I am super happy with that, so I'll see you all at the parade grounds. I don't think we're going to be talking much about that in this video, so I'll say what I have to say now, which is basically this event, this Starfaring Festival, is indeed a parade. It looks like you sign up, or if, well, too late now, obviously the corporations that have signed up and have been accepted are now in. Those who have signed up now select how their corporation is going to appear. You select like a formation, who's in what ship, that kind of thing, and it looks like it's then going to actually perform a parade for everyone to come along and witness, with a load of gifts and things happening at the same time. It's actually kind of exciting. I still don't like the way they handled it. I think Aurum was a bad idea, although admittedly Plex would have caused Plex inflation instead, so I don't know. I wish there had been, like, other ways to do this, like that you just needed a certain amount of an item that you could only purchase using Aurum, so that other people could grab it and then sell it to each other or contract it or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how it could have been better, I just know it could have been. Anyway, let's move on to the second image. Here we have the ancient faction of Sleepers have descended. Now, I'm going to do a full video on this at some point in the future. Who are the Sleepers? What are the Sleepers? Ultimately, Sleepers are a faction in Eve, in the Eve storyline. If we go right back into Eve's ancient history, there were 4 races, like the Jovians, the Talakans, the Yanjung, and I can't remember the 4th one, not really relevant. Of those 4 ancient races, those then are the ones that spawned the various empires that we now know. Sleepers, basically, these guys decided, they became so technologically advanced that they decided they could actually upload their consciousness to a gigantic computer mainframe, think the Matrix, and then from there they could be able to do all of these better sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, all these, like, you know, research and experiments and science and that kind of thing. They could do it faster because they were able to process quicker in this digital mainframe, and they seem to have kind of been lost in this mainframe. And there are then these drones. Don't confuse them with rogue drones, don't confuse them with drifters. They are not either of those things. Sleepers are basically, these drones are like what is left of this ancient race. In EVE Online, they have exceptionally good AI. They are sort of the stepping stone between PvE content and PvP content. They are nails hard in certain encounters, which is really cool. You know, I'm hoping we get that kind of difficulty. Now, what excites me here, I'm actually going to double back. I've got a better shot of this, which was sent to me earlier on today. If we have a look at this, there's just so much really cool information that we can see on this. Now, first of all, big shout and thank you here to Tuscan Raider for alerting me to this and sending me this screenshot. Now, before we even look at the Sleepers and stuff in the background, take a look at the bottom. There's a couple of key points here. The heads-up display has been completely redesigned. You can now see on the left-hand side, you have still got your shield, your armor, and your hull, but it's now kind of this weird off-slant with the hologram of your ship in the middle. You've still got the 325 meters per second underneath. That is showcasing, obviously, the speed of your ship, and the capacitor is the blue bar on the right-hand side, currently showing 63%. If you then look further right of that, there is an 83% with some cool new icons, and we're going to come back to those in just a moment. Other HUD upgrade on the left-hand side, you can still see your thrusters are there, the screenshot and remove heads-up display is all there as well. It's worth noting that if we have a look at the chat, though, the chat is really close to the bottom of the screen, which means, are we getting an ability to actually hide the chat completely? Because that's pretty cool if we can. But yeah, really like the look of that new HUD. Like, I remember when we went from the closed alpha, open beta, heads-up display to what we have currently on live, and that was a really nice graphical upgrade. This looks stunning. That is so clean, and I love that so much. But let's examine the screen. Obviously, we have a prophecy here. You can see it's got 3 beam lasers on there, 2 webs. We're not going to worry about the fit or anything like that. What we're looking at is that we've got a prophecy fighting a load of sleepers in a brand new environment. This environment is dark, this environment is moody, and this very much looks like the inside of an abyssal dead space. Not a nihilist dead space, an abyssal dead space. And when you look at the sleepers, those are the models you have from EVE Online with some, you know, sort of slight graphical upgrades for EVE Echoes, but they're really cool ships. These are such unique ships. I love the look of them. To answer the inevitable question, no, I don't think we're going to be able to fly sleeper ships. They're not really capsuleer ready ships. Remember, you as a capsuleer, you live inside your little capsule. That little capsule gets inserted into the different ships that you can fly. They are all capsuleer blueprints of an existing ship design. These, on the other hand, are basically drones. There's nothing like there's no crew to a sleeper battleship, for example. If you go up against, say, a Blood Raider battleship, there's crew on that when you blow it up. When you blow up sleepers, you're not blowing up crew. There's no living creature on there. The best you might have is a rudimentary explanation of consciousness. So I doubt we're going to be flying sleeper ships, but I do reckon there's going to be some kind of cool, like, store linked to this. And that's come from the fact that if we look at the left-hand side, you can see there is a Centrum with some stuff that's on it. And it's worth noting that the stuff that is shown underneath, there's a Target Painter, a Neutralizer, a Nosferatu, and a Warp Disruptor. None of those are shown here on the prophecy itself. So it looks like those are actually being done by the Centrum. Like, those are what the Centrum itself has active. I don't know. I could be wrong. We'll see. Below that, we then have mission list 0000, destroy the Centrum. The fact that this is timed makes me feel like Abyssal Dead Spaces again. Ultimately, I'll give a brief rundown of Abyssal Dead Spaces for those of you who don't know what they are. Essentially, you use an item to create a rift in space, you jump through, you then have 3 rooms that you have to clear of all enemies. Clear all the enemies in a room, the gate opens, you can proceed into the next room. There are also sort of boxes in there that you can loot if you're quick enough, and you've got 20 minutes to do all 3 rooms. If the timer runs out, you are destroyed completely. You lose your entire ship, your capsule, everything that goes with that. This has a time limit to it, and it has kind of a mission thing. So this looks like it is kind of our version of Abyssal Dead Spaces. And a lot of people have said to me when I've mentioned Abyssals in the past that could be part of this event. They're like, yeah, but if it's sleepers, how can that be Abyssals? I've said I don't think it is Abyssals. I think it's our version of Abyssals, which are going to use sleepers. Now, sleepers do actually feature in Abyssal Dead Spaces and EVE Online, alongside Sanchez Nation, Angel Cartel, and even Edencom ships feature in there as well as possible targets, alongside the Triglavians. We're not getting Triglavians, we're getting sleepers, which I'm really, really excited for, and it looks like we're getting some kind of Abyssal Dead Space kind of sort of setup here with all of this. We'll talk about that more in just a moment. Here it is. Cooperative team up for the Dormant Realm, and here now you can see a Raven. This, I'm going to get some flack for saying this. This actually disappoints me slightly that there is a Raven shown inside these, because if we wanted to get an Abyssal Dead Space type thing, I honestly would much prefer that it was exclusive to cruisers, destroyers, and frigates to actually give those pilots something useful to do. Like, ultimately, once you're Tech 10, if you're flying battleships, you can already do things like encounters, and anomalies and stuff like that, and storyline missions. There's a lot of content there for those. The cruiser pilots really don't have anything, and I've said before, perhaps controversially, I think destroyers are actually in a good place right now. I just think that they're lacking content, and I think Abyssals could have been that content. So it's slightly disappointing to me to see that battleships are able to do this, because of course if battleships can do it, battleships are probably going to be able to do it best, at which point there's no point still flying the smaller stuff. Anyway, look at the graphics though. That is a visually impressive setup here. You've got a sleeper battleship here on the left hand side, sleeper cruiser over this way, some really cool gate kind of functionality. This to me screams Eve Echoes Abyssal Dead Space, and my god, look at those rocks. It just looks so badass and awesome, and I love it. But that's enough for the new cooperative team-up for Dormant Realm. Obviously, that's what it's going to be called. Dormant Realm, not Abyssal Dead Space, Dormant Realm. But what about the implants they mentioned? Well, bing! I think I can mention this now because it's on screen here. We can clearly see what, we're looking at here. I was having a conversation with Melos a long time ago about sort of an ammunition system, and he had a really cool idea for ammunition that would be almost like different modes. And I think that is now what the implant system has become. What you can see here, I wish I could properly zoom in on this. Oh, I can. Sorry, still getting used to using an actual computer for this. Oh god, that's really embarrassing. I just found my scroll wheel. Like, go Benzie, how much of a noob am I? Anyway, so, first things first, you can see there are 6 different types of implant here. Focused crystal and pulse crystal, that is clearly something to do with the MAR lasers. High power coil and thermal circulation, those are both railgun things. Sniping technology appears to be cannons, and support projection appears to be missiles. Now, I don't think that's all of them, because it seems weird that you'd get 2 lasers two railguns, one cannon, and one missile. There should be another cannon and another missile. And from the conversation I had with Melos, I can't say too much, obviously. He did have ideas for 2 different cannon types and 2 different missile types. So it'll be interesting to see how those work out. But basically, it's kind of the way we were describing it. Now, please take this all with a massive grain of salt. I'm going on a conversation I had with Melos a long time ago. Obviously, this has been iterated on since then. But thermal circulation rings bells for me, because what he had was a system where basically you managed the heat of your railguns, and the more they fired, the higher the heat became, and so you kind of had to manage how hot your railguns became in order to keep a buff running at all times. And it was a much more integrated and active way of playing the game. The Sniping Technology one, again, there were big problems with it. I mentioned to him when it first came out, but it was the idea that if you choose not to fire for a long time, you aim longer, so when you do choose to activate, you get higher alpha and better hit chance and stuff like that. I don't know how this is going to actively work, but it looks like there is some kind of currency you can spend to sort of, I don't know if that's upgrade or to install. I don't know if we get implants as an item that we then install, and then we use the upgrades to sort of, almost like a talent tree or a nanocore, improve them. I don't know if we will lose them on ship destruction. I've said I think losing on ship destruction, as controversial as that may be, is important. I think, well, not ship destruction, on pod destruction. I think that if we have a new system like this, my ideal would be that explorers find the blueprints, industrialists build the blueprints using a lot of ores, not much ISK, and maybe some new rare material that gets added, and then the ratters can get the upgrade materials for them. I think that would be a cool way of doing it. I also have to say that I did mention to Melos back at the time that it was a really cool system, but it was only geared at combat pilots, and obviously a lot of Eve Echoes is already combat-based. Now, on one hand, if we're getting a new form of combat, I kind of get why they would lean into that, especially seeing as the majority of the player base, even before the changes, were combat pilots. I think from the stats, if I remember correctly, the lowest the percentage of player base has been as sort of a combat fighter is about 70%. So even, way back when, most players were doing combat stuff, not industrial stuff. So I get the want to lean into it. But this, to me, if we look here, we also have this insta-buff upon installation. So it looks like when you install an implant, you get a buff of some kind to your shield, your armor, or your structure. Then you're going to have whatever these do. You can see this one's showing as installable. So I think it's possibly an item that you can use to install the implant. And then up here is the materials you can use to upgrade it, perhaps. I don't actually know. I'm theorizing based on information that I've had in an age-old conversation. It's, as I said, a long time ago. I don't know how that's going to play out. I'm excited for it. It's a new system for Eve Echoes, and it's taking the implant system from EVE Online and doing something much more exciting and active with it. If it is what I think it is, that it's these activatable modes and sort of a new gameplay mechanic. Like, I'm going to use an example here. When I used to play Final Fantasy XIV online, you would have certain sort of characters that would need to put up certain debuffs, then swap stance and go into a different thing. Black Mage is a good example of this. You would use sort of certain spells to proc a situation. That situation and the new buff that you would get would mean that different spells become usable for that period of time once it's procced. Once that has then, disappeared, you go back to your previous rotation. So I think something akin to that means you're not just tap buttons, stare at screen. You actually get sort of an activatable mode that does something that you're going to have to press a few more buttons to choose when to activate, deactivate. I don't know. I'm just going on that old conversation. Please, pinch of salt. But that's the implant system. That's the information we have right now, and I think that's pretty cool, as long as it is something that will help industrials as well. I don't mean necessarily industrial implants, but something that industrialists could build using ore, so that we get an actual meaningful ore sink, for example, and have these lost upon destruction, especially since obviously most PvE players are going to be sort of, completely safe from losing their pod anyway, unless it turns out, I've got to zoom out, unless it turns out that this Dormant realm stuff is actually really high risk, really high reward, like Abyssal Dead Spaces are, and I think that could be so cool. There is so much exciting stuff in that screenshot. I can't wait to see this, and unfortunately, looks like we're not going to have to wait too long. 2 days until August the 3rd. That is the likely date of the update. The Twitter account did put up a thing saying sleep is coming August 3rd. I would assume the entire update is coming in one go, and of course, once that lands, I'll be going absolutely bat guano crazy, making as many videos for you folks as I can. So if there's stuff you want to see, get into the comment section down below, let me know what you want to see. I will do my best to make what you want to see, and well, we'll have a lot of fun with it all together. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching this one right the way through to the end. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Hit like if you haven't already. Please, takes you 5 seconds. Really helps my channel out. And otherwise, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.